Anybody tuning in? Lindsay Manfredi,
Yes.
bassist of the band Cold, and now you're an author, which is pretty cool, huh?
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. And it just released too, right? Your book,
Like six
Unfuckable with,
unfuckwithable.
Unfuckwithable. Yes, it's kind of hard to spit that out,
Yeah.
especially if you try to say it kind of fast. But it stands out though, right?
Yeah.
It
Sure.
makes, especially a guide to inspired badassery. I can say that part. No problem.
Yeah.
So, besides being a basis for Cold, what made you want to put out a book during this time, or what did you feel is like I have enough experience, I can actually do this now?
Yeah, well, I started it 4 years ago, back in 2016, after I was going through a breakup. And it was basically, I'd come back to Indiana to hang out with my daughter because the cold record was just taking a little bit of time to do. And I felt like I had a lot to say and I had a lot to share. And I had to kind of teach myself the principles as I was writing it. So it was kind of a therapeutic, this is what I have to do to move on. And I think that I can share it with other people. I've always wanted to write and have a book. And I just finally did it. And it happened to be like during the pandemic. I was supposed to release it while I was on the road anyway, but it gave me the actual focus and time to work with my publisher and the editor and get it out. And I think it was perfect time, to be
Yeah,
honest. It's
sure.
kind of in those kind of ways, you know?
Yeah, you kind of got lucky. It gave you that extra time instead of being on the road. Being on the road is just there's something always going on. It's nonstop. You can barely find time.
I mean, so I'm a huge person that I meditate all the time, but I guess hard to do on the road because you're with the guys all the time, you're with fans all the time, and you've got your tour manager and you've got your road crews. It's just like there's no alone time. There's really no space unless you're in your bunk and then you're like in a little coffin sleep. you know.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Now, for the book, did you already have, you started it 4 years ago. Did you already have a theme in mind of what the book was going to be about, or did you have a bunch of ideas and that kind of helped shape the theme of the book?
Well, I had been shaping the theme of the book throughout the years because I had some of it was written in Indiana, some of it was written at Shooter's house in Temecula, some of it was written in Chicago. I knew I wanted an idea, but like I'd sent a rough draft of version to some friends of mine that were authors, probably back in 2017, 2018, and they gave me some feedback. So then I had to kind of go back and totally restructure it. And I thought, well, how about I kind of wanted it to be a personal development book versus just a memoir, looking back into my life and how all the roads led to one another. And so I just decided to make it more of a personal development book and add suggestions, like the things that I was going through at, at the end of each chapter.
Yeah.
So.
Now, you mentioned like being on tour, and this book has been in development for a few years. How did you manage their time to? Did you make like notes as you were going along? Maybe using like a audio to put your ideas down.
Well, no, because the book's been complete. I mean, the book was complete last year, so I was just shopping for agents. Um, and what had happened is I knew we were getting ready to go back out on tour for the spring, which of course got postponed. And I had just decided that I was gonna pay for an editor and I was just gonna self-publish it. And the story is because all the agents that I had sent it to, because you have to have an agent, and the agent shops it to publishers, and there's a whole like flow when you're trying to put a book out. And I was really doing my best to go through those, like that process of things. And I have a whole file in my email that says book rejections of agents that I had sent it to. And they would be like, Lindsay, this is great, but we're not the people to represent it, because it's the first book in like a spiritual based book, not religious at all, but very spiritual and personal development that has fuck in the title. And I'm not blotting it out. I'm not putting like any, the little at sign for the fuck. It's just unfuckwithable. And I had originally had unfuckwithable backwards, spelled backwards, but a lot of agents were like, do you pronounce it uncuffable? That just pissed me off. So that's why I was like, never mind. I'm just going to keep it. I'm just going to make it unfuckwithable.
Yeah.
But they would say, this is a great idea, but I'm not the person to back it up. So nobody would really back it up. And I think that that's taking a risk. Also putting a book out for whomever. And so I guess a lot of agents could have been a little pussyish. But I was like, well, I'll just put it out myself. I'll self-publish it because, you know, we know a lot of people and we've got a lot of friends and fans. And so I had put out on the Facebook universe that I just was looking for an editor for my book because it's been done. Like I said, I just needed somebody else to go through it because I've gone through it so many times and I was just tired of reading it. I was tired of looking at it. And a publisher contacted me and they were like, please send us your book. And I sent it straight to them. And within 24 hours, they were like, we like this, we'll put it out. Here's a contract.
Awesome.
And it was a contract. So I was like, yep, let's do it. And it just went. And that was just like in February. And so then it was released in June.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's got to be a great feeling. Now, you mentioned that, of course, this is going to be very personal stuff that's in there. At any type or at any one time, did you think maybe there's certain things you wouldn't touch on or it would be too personal to put out to the world?
I put a lot of personal stuff out there. There's some things I didn't go into as much detail per se, but they're definitely the major impactful things in my life. I was in a pretty abusive relationship, the one that I was in. I didn't really go into the physical abuse as much as the mental, but it's a story and I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I touch on some things and then we move, but just letting the audience know that I've been through this and it sucked, but this is what I had to learn in order to grow from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be,
Very.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
And it's scary. I want to tell you this story. This is really scary because I gave it to one of my friends and like that night he was like, I'm like 80 some pages in and he was like, this took a lot of balls to put this out. And then it was like immediate anxiety, like, oh my god, did I make a mistake, like what does that mean, how are people going to react to it? But he was like, no, this is a good thing. And then I got so much more feedback from people I truly respect, so I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
But I have to be unfuckwithable anyway. That's the same thing. Like if people don't like it, there's nothing I can do. Like this is a vulnerable piece of art from me and story. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it'll be good anyway. And it's I personally think I haven't read it, but anytime anybody is willing to put a piece of them out there, it actually helps other people. And it with your music that you play in Cold, to where people tell you, oh, your lyrics in this or the songs for this have changed me and it's helped me. So I think you're probably on the right track with the same thing with this book too.
Well, the whole intention is to help people. I believe that people put too much pressure on themselves because of what other people think. And I have a Freud quote in the book about like be weary of the good opinion of others or something like that. I forget what it is, but yeah, I just think that, and even me, like, if somebody doesn't like me or has a problem and I'm like, well, why don't they like me? I just want everybody to like me. It's just that same. Sometimes you just have to say fuck you to people and walk away for the betterment of yourself.
Right. Right. Now you talk a little bit, we're touching on inspiration, how, that's what you aim to do for people, whether with the book or with music. Now for yourself, growing up, was there any certain types of musicians or certain books that have inspired you throughout your life?
Oh, absolutely. So music, Cold was one of the biggest influencers of music with me. So, I mean, the fact that I'm in the band is like it's a dream come true, humbling, and I love those guys. I love Scooter and his family and all of our families. Like it's just crazy to me sometimes. So, but I grew up listening to Eddie Vedder and Billy Corgan and Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain and Chris Cornell. Like all those bands changed when the first time I heard Alive from Pearl Jam, like that, I went straight from like pop, Debbie Gibson, and Madonna to alternative rock. And at that point in time, I was 14 years old, and so I grew up in the 90s, and like the main part of my life that was like so influential to me. But then books were anything from Dr. Wayne Dyer and Don Ruiz Miguel, or Don Miguel Ruiz, the Four Agreements, the Mastery of Love, and then anything from Dr. Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle, and then Gabrielle Bernstein, and all of these like really great spiritual teachers. And I think that Dr. Wayne Dyer was my biggest spiritual teacher in like the philosophy of the law of attraction and The Secret and quantum physics, Dr. Joe Dispenza. So these are the things that changed what I had wanted. My intention for Unfuckwithable was to be able to talk to a different audience, but teaching the kind of principles, like the people who wouldn't pick up those books.
Right. And that'll probably lead them to further research and figure out those things themselves too.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. So you've been in the music industry also for quite a while, over 20 years. Do you feel that that also kind of helped build your confidence to where it led you to maybe write this book now, or, during this time press?
Absolutely. I mean, everything, all things, I talk about that in the book, like all of the, successes that turned into heartbreak and disappointment, that, just the whole evolution. I call it like a perfect orchestration of the universe, like a chess game. Like the universe is like, oh, here we are for you to learn this lesson, but I didn't know that it was going to completely fail. But it really wasn't a failure. It was just a detour in the right direction. It's just like when we look at our lives and when we're open to every day, like, what do you have for me today, universe? I have control over nothing. I just have control over how I respond to things. And I really love life, and I really love my life, and I want other people to like have that same, woo, what are we going to do? How can we love? How can we make today great for everybody around us and ourselves?
Yeah.
To put themselves first, but not in a selfish, but in a self-love kind of way, because that self-love helps create this vibration that other people, is like a ripple effect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, you talked about it briefly earlier that you sent out rough drafts to your, colleagues and such. Whereas at any point, did you feel like it was a rough choice of what you would trim and what to add in during the final process?
No, I had a lot of positive feedback anyway. And I ended up so my editor, when she sent me all of her edits, she didn't do them herself, which really pissed me off, because I was like, we're paying for somebody to do it and I'm over it. I don't want to do it anymore. But it's funny because it forced me to go back through the book and reread, but I had the option to use the edits that she decided, like that she had suggested, or I could ignore it, because some of the things I was talking about, she didn't understand. But then she would say, well, I don't really understand this, so that must mean your audience might not understand it. So it gave me a chance to either reword, but she had some great suggestions, and I used probably 95% of what she suggested that I change. But I had that option, so I had a really great, again, gold publishing that I went through, that took a chance on me. They're great. So yeah, but I had gone through it so many times already that I was just so over it. But I'm glad that I did, because there was a lot of stuff that I just deleted that my girlfriend McGee had she'd read it, and she said, I think that you say I'll get it later too many times. And so there were certain like little things, you should take out this, and
yeah, it's those little things that that we won't see because we're too close to it.
Right. 1,000%.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you mentioned, of course, there's no way to avoid this. We're in this pandemic. How else have you been spending your downtime?
Well, I live on a farm with my best friend in Fallbrook, California, and we have a candle company. Well, she started it last year, and I'm now partners with her. So I'm constantly making candles, and we have a cold collection. So that has kept us very busy, especially since our tour got postponed, and we've had such a great support from the Cold Army. Um, so we opened up a retail shop in Laguna, and we have another retail spot in Carlsbad, California. That's been keeping me so busy. And plus, they have 4 Airbnbs on their property. So I do a lot of cleaning, um, a lot of, and okay, but also in addition to that, her fiance is Gino Leonardo, the original guitarist from Filter.
Uh,
So we have a recording studio on the farm also. So we're constantly working on candles, on music, cooking food, working out, because we have a gym on the property. And it's just us, and we're the only people that use the gym. And we've been very careful, and we've been included, and, definitely do a lot of social distancing. But I really don't have a day off. And I'm in Indiana right now, visiting with my daughter, because I was supposed to be here in June, because we were ending our tour at the machine shop in Michigan in
yeah,
the end of May. And I was just going to stay in the Midwest for all of June. And that didn't happen because of the pandemic. So I finally got to take some time. I'm here for a couple of weeks just hanging out with my 16-year-old.
yeah, very
And
cool.
it's nice to be back home and see my family, because it's been 6 months since I've seen them.
Yeah, it's as much as people complain, there the silver lining would be us being able to slow down and spend time with family and appreciate the small things that we're able to do when we're not so busy with everything else that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, excuse me. Is there any possibility of maybe doing like a virtual reading of your book, or maybe like a
Oh,
tech?
absolutely. I would do that.
Yeah. Is there a time frame maybe for doing that, or it's just when it gets you're able to set it up?
Yeah, it's just whenever I'm able to set it up. I mean, it probably won't be until after July 21st, because then I'll be back in California and I can have some space. So probably the beginning of August,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
my is the 20. I fly back the 20th of July. My birthday is the 21st, and then I'm probably gonna just need to get my bearings of being back in California and back into the swing of things. But yeah, I'm gonna start. I can absolutely do virtual readings. So whoever wants to do that, we'll just plop it on the schedule.
Yeah. That's very cool. Happy early birthday. It's almost time.
It's not even a special birthday. It's just like a lame old 42, There's
Uh,
like a and about it.
that's all right. You're still younger than I am. So
Yeah.
it's good. But I think after for myself, after like in the 30s, I stopped counting because sometimes I'll have to think like, shit, how old am I? But it's all right. You
Yeah.
just don't even worry about it.
I still feel 27 at heart all the time.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
I completely understand that until you get up off the chair from sitting down for too long.
And you're like my butt and my back. Or when you wake up and you have no idea what happened while you were sleeping. Because you're creaking and your back hurts. That's the worst.
Yeah, I know.
Growing
Just
old. Hmm.
yeah, it sure does. So I know you just put out this book, and do you think that you would probably want to put out another book later in the future?
Oh, absolutely. I'm there. I already have 2 in the works.
Oh, wow.
One of them is geared toward kids. So I'm looking at ages probably 9 to 16, 17. And it's about bullying, and it's called Don't Be a Dickopotamus. And then the other book, I'm also writing a screenplay at the same time. And so I'm not going to share that, but it's in the works also.
Wow, you keeping very busy along with your cleaning.
It's important. Like, I have to stay busy because I, I will go crazy. Like, I'll go into a serious depression. So I just have to constantly be working on something and creating. I don't know if that's the artist curse, but
Probably, probably. I hear that often to where, I mean, you use your art as an outlet, and when you're not able to do that, it kind of drives people crazy.
right. So it's funny because like I've been doing all of these candles and everything. Gino and I took a little bit of a break from music, and just one. This was a couple weeks ago. I was just like in this really deep depression, and I was in my room, and I just started crying. I like lost my shit. And Gino knocked on my door, and he was like, "Are you okay?" He was like, "Come here," and he's like, "We love you." And I sobbed in his arms, and I was like, "It's because I haven't been working on music. We haven't done anything. I just thought that that's it." And so Diamond Guitar had endorsed me and are making two Lindsay Manfredi series basses. But because of the COVID, everything pushed off. So I went ahead and I bought a Fender Mustang. I was like, I just needed something because all my basses were on the coast because we were leaving for tour. So my bandmates, all of my gear, and you know, so then we started writing again, and it's like was a whole entire burden was lifted because I had something, and music is my life, like always number one, and if I'm not doing it, I'm a shit show. For real.
No, I understand what you're saying, and kind of I'm wondering, just because of what you also have a foundation, Girls Rock Indianapolis. Did the idea for this new book come from that?
Oh no, not at all. And I am not a part of Girls Rock Indianapolis anymore. I was
Okay.
for 3 4 years, and I was a co-founder of it. But I moved on. I started doing music full time, and I moved to California also. So I'm like not even there.
Yeah.
But that is still thriving, and Girls Rock Indianapolis was definitely a part of my evolution as a human being, and as a musician. So, and I talk about that in Unfuckwithable. And yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm sure it's gonna be, if with the rave reviews that everybody's already saying, I'm sure the next one is gonna be just as well. And it's a good topic to hit on though too, especially for young kids that are so vulnerable at that age. There's so much bullying, and now, I mean, when I was growing up, there was some bullying, but it wasn't as rampant it is now because we didn't have the internet to
Right.
where, I mean, that cyberbullying is just a whole nother level. You can't
Oh,
escape.
yeah, I mean, darling, there's a whole chapter in the book that I talk about statistics because of cyberbullying. Like, that's a passion. And what my hope is to have a foundation. And I'm actually working on the domain name right now. I'm trying to buy a specific domain that I want the organization to have. And I want to start it, and I want musicians behind it to where we go into schools and we talk to kids about not being assholes, because there's dickhead kids. That's why the book's going to be "Don't Be a Dickopotamy." Why it's
Yeah.
called that. Uh, and it's. I have a teenager, so I'm very passionate about that, and I very in clear communication. Like, is anyone talking to you bad? Is anyone making fun of you online? Like, and she's good, but there are a lot of kids that aren't. And I just think that we need to teach our children how to be loving and compassionate.
Yeah.
And it all starts at home. It all starts with the parents, I think. So that's why I'm just trying to, like, hopefully with Unfuckable, we can get some people to shift, that can cause more shifts in the vibration of the universe. And, one person at a time, one day at a time, one shift at a time.
Yeah, for sure. We can't give up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we can't. And yeah, there's always going to be people who aren't going to change. And that's okay, because that's their part in the universe right now, that can maybe we can maybe learn something from them. I don't even know. I can't pretend to know what's going to happen with all of this, but I can choose to think that it's going to be good.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. As long as if we send out positive vibes, it'll bring positive things.
Yeah, absolutely. Law of attraction
Yeah,
101.
for sure. Now, coming to the conclusion of our interview, is there anything else that you would like to promote or any last parting words?
No, I just the book is at eqxshop.com, and that's a signed copy because you're getting it from me. And of course, never stop supporting the things we can't stop, the new cold. We will be back on the road in 2021, and we are going to continue with the promotion of that album. So music doesn't keep listening. We're on Spotify. Download it, buy it, support it, and we're always at coldband.com. So yeah, those are my babies. Those are the two things: the band and the book.
Very cool. Well, Lindsay, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see your face, meet you in person.
Yes.
Well, over Skype.
Yeah. Close
But hey,
enough.
I'm gonna do a virtual reading anytime. You've got my number. Hit me up, and we can get something on the books.
Very cool. I appreciate it. You have a
Yeah.
wonderful day.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Thanks.